Drinking water sounds like the safest health habit on earth, but there is a point where more water stops helping and starts diluting the very minerals that keep your brain and muscles working. And the tricky part is this: overhydration can look like you are doing everything right. You are carrying the bottle, you are staying hydrated, you are even peeing clear. So what are the warning signs that you might be overdoing it? Not in a scary, rare headline way, in the everyday way that shows up as headaches, weird fatigue, nausea, or feeling puffy for no obvious reason. The goal here is simple: help you spot the patterns that suggest your water intake is outpacing your body's ability to balance sodium and fluids. Then you can adjust without swinging to the other extreme. Because hydration is not just water. It is water plus electrolytes, plus timing, plus context. And when those don't match, healthy can backfire. Moving to slide 2. First, what overhydration actually means. It is not just drinking a lot. It is drinking faster than your kidneys can excrete, or drinking so much plain fluid that blood sodium gets diluted. That low sodium state is called hyponatremia. Your kidneys are impressive. In many healthy adults, they can clear roughly something like 0.8 to 1 liter per hour under typical conditions. But that number is not a promise. It depends on body size, hormones, heat, stress, and what you are eating. And here is the part most people miss. If you are sweating and replacing only water, you are losing sodium while adding more fluid. That is a double hit to sodium concentration. So overhydration is basically a math problem. Water in, water out, and electrolytes in the middle. You do not need to measure everything. You just need to recognize when your behavior and your symptoms line up with dilution rather than dehydration. Moving to slide 3. Warning sign number 1 is a headache that shows up after you have been drinking a lot, especially if it comes with a kind of foggy, off feeling. People often assume headache means dehydration. Sometimes it does, but dilution can also trigger headache because fluid shifts affect pressure and how brain cells handle water. Here is a practical pattern. You drink, and instead of feeling better, you feel more swollen in your head. Your focus gets worse. You might feel slightly nauseated. That cluster should make you pause. Another clue: the headache is not relieved by more water. It may even worsen. This is where context matters. Long walks in the heat, endurance workouts, sauna sessions, or even a habit of constantly sipping all day can set the stage. A single headache does not diagnose anything. But if headaches reliably follow heavy water intake, that is a strong signal to rethink the balance, not just the volume. Moving to slide 4. Warning sign number 2 is nausea, bloating, or that sloshy stomach feeling. If you have ever chugged a big bottle and then felt your stomach just sit heavy, that can be a simple mechanical issue. Too much volume too quickly. But when nausea shows up together with fatigue, headache, or confusion, it can also be a sign your fluid and sodium balance is drifting. A common mistake is using water as a fix for everything. Tired, drink water. Hungry, drink water. Craving something salty, drink water. If your body is actually asking for sodium or food, more plain water can worsen the mismatch. Also, pay attention to timing. Drinking large amounts right before bed can create overnight disruption. We'll wake up repeatedly to pee. Your sleep gets fragmented, and the next day you feel off, so you drink even more. If your stomach is constantly full of water, it is worth asking whether you are hydrating on autopilot instead of responding to real needs. Moving to slide 5. Warning sign number 3 is peeing constantly, especially when the urine is very pale and you still feel thirsty or tired. That sounds contradictory, but it is common. If you are drinking large amounts, your body may respond by dumping water. You end up in a loop: sip, pee, and because you are flushing fluid through, you can also flush electrolytes along the way. Now, clear urine is not automatically bad. It can simply mean you recently drank a lot. The red flag is when clear all day becomes the goal, and you are using it like a scoreboard. A more useful target is normal variation. Slightly pale in the morning after you drink, a bit more yellow between meals, darker after intense exercise until you replace what you lost. If you are waking multiple times at night to urinate, that is another signal. It is not just annoying, it can push you into chronic fatigue, which then makes you chase hydration even harder. Moving to slide 6. Warning sign number 4 is swelling. Puffy fingers, tight rings, socks leaving deeper marks, or a face that looks a bit fuller. People usually blame salt for that, but swelling can also happen when you dilute sodium and your body shifts water into tissues. It can feel unfair. You cut salty foods, you drink more water, and you still feel puffy. That is a clue that the issue may not be too much salt. It may be the balance between salt and water. Another related sign is rapid weight changes over a single day. Fat does not appear overnight, but water weight can. If the scale jumps up after a day of heavy drinking, especially with frequent urination and fatigue, that points to fluid handling. This is also where hormones come in. Stress and poor sleep can change how much water you retain, so the same amount of water can hit differently depending on the week you are having. Again, you are looking for patterns. Puffy plus high water intake plus low salt intake is a common trio. Moving to slide 7. Warning sign number 5 is muscle cramps, twitching, or unusual weakness. People often connect cramps to dehydration, but cramps can also show up when sodium is low or when electrolytes are out of balance after heavy sweating, followed by lots of plain water. Sodium helps nerves fire and muscles contract. When sodium drops, your system can get noisy, twitching, cramping, that heavy, weak feeling where your legs just do not want to cooperate. This is especially relevant for long workouts, hikes, hot yoga, or physically demanding jobs in heat. If you sweat a lot and replace only with water, you can end up with plenty of fluid, but not enough sodium to keep performance stable. Another clue is craving salty foods after exercise. That craving is not a moral failure. It can be your body trying to restore what sweat removed. If cramps are a recurring issue, it is worth looking at the full picture. Not just water volume, but sodium intake, meal timing, and how aggressively you are trying to flush your system. Moving to slide 8. Warning sign number 6 is feeling anxious, restless, or mentally off in a way you cannot explain. This one surprises people. But sodium and fluid balance affect nerve function, and when the balance shifts, your brain can feel it. Some people describe it as being wired but tired. You are not calm, but you are not energetic either. You might have trouble concentrating. Your reaction time feels slow. You reread the same sentence. You feel slightly dizzy when you stand. Now, those symptoms can come from many causes: low sleep, low calories, stress, illness. So the point is not to self-diagnose. The point is to notice when the mental symptoms show up after aggressive hydration habits. A common trigger is drinking a lot of water with very little food, especially early in the day. Food brings sodium and other minerals. Water alone does not. If your mood and focus get worse as your water intake goes up, that is a signal to stop treating hydration like a contest and start treating it like a balance problem. Moving to slide 9. Now let's talk about who is most likely to accidentally overhydrate. One group is endurance exercises, long runs, long rides, long hikes. Especially beginners who here drink constantly, but do not match electrolytes to sweat. Another group is people who are dieting or fasting and using water to blunt hunger. If food intake drops, sodium intake often drops too. Then adding lots of water can push the balance further. Another overlooked group is anyone with a job that makes hydration feel mandatory. Warehouse work, outdoor labor, long shifts where you keep sipping because it is available and you do not want to get dehydrated. And there are medical contexts too. Certain health conditions and medications can affect water handling. That is why the warning signs matter. If you're at higher risk, you want to be more cautious with extremes. The big idea is this: overhydration is rarely about one glass of water. It is usually a pattern. High intake, low electrolytes, and a belief that more is always better. Moving to slide 10. Let's clear up a big myth. If I'm thirsty, I need more water. Thirst is useful, but it is not a perfect meter. Sometimes thirst is driven by dry mouth, breathing through your mouth, caffeine, salty meals, or even anxiety. And sometimes your body is not asking for more fluid. It is asking for more sodium. That can happen after heavy sweating. You drink water, but the thirst does not fully resolve. So you drink more. Now you are chasing thirst with the wrong tool. Another myth is, I need 8 glasses no matter what. Your needs change with body size, climate, diet, and activity. People who eat more water-rich foods may need less drinking. People who eat more protein and fiber may need more fluids. There is no one number. A better approach is to use multiple signals: thirst, urine color trends, energy, and how you feel during exercise. Hydration works best when it is flexible, not rigid, not fear-based, not a daily quota you force your body to hit. Moving to slide 11. So how do you hydrate smarter without turning this into a complicated science project? Start with pacing. Most people do better sipping and spreading fluids out, instead of chugging large amounts in a short window. Next, pair water with meals. Meals naturally bring sodium and other minerals, and they slow absorption in a way that can feel steadier. If you are drinking a lot between meals, ask why. Habit, anxiety, a dry mouth, or a real need. For exercise, the principle is replacement, not flooding. If you are doing long or sweaty sessions, many athletes use electrolytes to match sweat losses. The exact amount varies a lot, but the concept is consistent. Also, stop using clear urine as the goal. Aim for normal variation and stable energy. And if you suspect you have been overdoing it, the gentle move is often to reduce the constant sipping and bring back balanced intake with food, not to swing into dehydration. Moving to slide 12. Now the serious part. When should you treat symptoms as urgent? Severe confusion, fainting, seizures, or worsening neurological symptoms are not hydrate more moments. Those are get help now moments. Hyponatremia can become dangerous, and it is not something you fix by guessing at home. Also, be cautious if you are vomiting repeatedly, have severe diarrhea, or have a medical condition that affects kidneys, heart, or hormones. Fluid balance can shift quickly in those contexts. For most people watching, the more common scenario is mild overhydration. The annoying middle zone: headaches, nausea, constant peeing, poor sleep, and feeling puffy. That is still worth taking seriously, because it can drag down your training, your work, and your mood. A practical step is to track for a week: rough fluid intake, exercise, heat exposure, saltiness of meals, symptoms, patterns jump out fast. If the pattern suggests imbalance, a clinician can check electrolytes with simple labs. Moving to slide 13. Let's put it all together with a simple mental checklist. If you are drinking a lot, peeing clear all day, and still feeling off, do not automatically assume you need even more water. Pause and check the trio: symptoms, context, and balance. Symptoms: headache, nausea, brain fog, cramps, puffiness, or restless fatigue. Context: long sweaty exercise, heat exposure, dieting, low food intake, or a habit of constant sipping. Balance: are you getting sodium and minerals through meals? Are you spacing fluids out? Are you replacing sweat intelligently? Hydration is a moving target. Some days you need more, some days you need less, and sometimes you need the same amount of water, but with better timing and more electrolytes. One more thing: if you only remember one line, make it this: your body is not a bucket you keep filling. It is a system that regulates concentration. If you want, drop a comment with a forced choice. Which describes you more? A. You tend to underdrink. B. You tend to overdrink. And if you want more grounded health explanations like this, subscribe. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Peak performance begins with optimized biology.